I think one of the best examples is, can we share this one actually?
What goes on behind the scenes when remaking a AAA game? In this interview, I asked Paul Fu and Justin Ng of Ubisoft about the choices behind Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced and how students can land a job in the industry. During the other interviews you have done, you mentioned how you have a 100-page document to decide what to scrap and, in a sense, what to modernize. So what's the framework that you actually use here to actually decide what to keep in and what to update, essentially?
Right. So it started with the review that you talked about. So I played through the entire game, the main missions, the side quests. I reviewed all the features as well, and I formed this giant document. And I would begin to go through the document with some of my content and game directors to figure out what we wanted and what we didn't want to change. And patterns began to emerge, right? And the clear pattern was that we didn't want to change the original story. So the original story is super strong and it's what fans love, so we didn't intend to change it. We merely sought to expand on it. And from there, we looked at the various systems and looked at the various departments, and we created more rules. So the art department will have a certain set of rules, the design department will have a certain set of rules. Cinematics also had their own set of guidelines. So it's not like 10 points, but it's more like thousands of points that goes into the various departments that determines on how to make a remake.
Okay, thanks for that. So in this remake, there was some little elements that you have changed. So what eventually led to those changes? And in your case, you decide what to keep in and what to remove. What actually helped you make that decision?
Right. But I think I would say it's a combination effort, right? I don't make all the calls myself. I think I have a great team around me, and Paul's one of my best working relationships ever. We have conversations about what to keep and what to cut. And I think from a producer's perspective, I personally see it's very important to first understand what the creators want to do, like what do they want to achieve, and then from a product perspective, what we think players will enjoy. And then lastly, I need to also maintain the budgetary and the timeline stuff. So it's always those three things that you're always trying to balance. And then at some point, I think the most fun part that we always tend to talk about is, this is the emotion you want the player to have. This is the mechanic that you want the player to enjoy. Is there a similar way or a more simpler way to get that feeling or get the mechanic across without investing more? I think one of the best examples is, can we share this one actually? The alternate fires.
Sure.
Yeah. So one of the best examples is that you see in the naval battles, the team added a new alternate fire for each of the side cannons, or each of the cannons basically. And originally it was supposed to be a bit more deeper in terms of upgrades and then selection and process. But I think the team found a great way to give that same feeling. And actually it turned out to be a better game or a better product, because in the moment, you get to make that decision in the moment. So I think that's the process. Yeah.
Thanks for that. So Justin, while I have you speaking, maybe I could get a little into your background.
Yeah.
So you joined the industry pretty much when you were a fresh grad out of school.
Yeah.
So what advice do you have for current fresh grads who are trying to get in, especially if they want to build a portfolio to work on a AAA game like this? Yeah.
So I think, I go a bit in my background, right? So I think I made the choice to be a game developer relatively young. I was very lucky. I found my passion quite young. I was 17 or 18 when I decided that this is what I wanted to do for a living. And then over time, I just went to school for design, and then I went to school for art and all that. And then after graduation, I started my own studio just to get some practice, and then eventually shifted towards Ubisoft and then make AAA stuff. I think my biggest advice is that being a developer or being a creative or making any things, your first 10, even 20 games or 20 pieces of work is probably not good enough. So my advice always has been, do more and get it out of your system, and then the good stuff will start coming. Yeah.
Great advice.
Yeah.
So maybe for Paul, I think I want to ask about how you move forward with deciding about the narrative-driven arcs within the game, also the jackdaw officers and all the stories you come up with. How do you decide, or how do you work with the game designers to ensure that the players actually go through the
path that you're trying to build for them with your narrative arcs?
Right, this is a content direction question. So we understand we learned from the original Black Flags data that there was a few points of player fall off. And one of the points of where players, some minority of players stopped playing the game was around Sequence 4, Chapter 4. And the main reason was the large sailing distance from the hideout to Tulum, which is a huge distance. I think it was almost 14 kilometers, something like that. And they felt that it was just like a straight sail. Of course, they could stop to do activities, but it felt like a long time to reach there. So we quickly addressed this. We addressed this pretty much quite early. We knew that a remake requires new content. And new content, the first thing we thought of was officers, because I've always wanted to do officers since Assassin's Creed 3. So we brainstormed the officers, we came up with 3 officers, and we quickly decided to put it at Sequence 4. Why? Because we knew that when you have a period of long sail, and this is like a human behavior type of thing, when you're traveling from the first town in The Witcher to the second town, for example, there's usually a huge distance, and it's purposefully inserted there so that players would explore the world to find new content. And that's why we chose to put the first 2 officers of the game around Sequence 4. Because of the long sail, players would be encouraged to look around, and we know that that's a pattern that has been exhibited for multiple games, not just Assassin's Creed.
So I just want to end on a really human note. You mentioned that you have a really great working relationship together, but actually interacting with you, I see that you have quite differing personalities, even the dressing today.
Black white. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, so what happens when disagreements happen in the workplace? What keeps you all together?
The kopitiam downstairs has very good business from us.
Grab a kopi peng and resolve it over kaya toast.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Right, thank you guys.
Thank you.